There are different kinds of life on Earth. There are animals, humans and plants that are big in size that we see and they are living alongside us every day. On the other hand, there are ones that are extremely tiny that we can't see with our naked eyes. Among those microscopic living things, some are harmless and some are dangerous to us as they can cause diseases. Organisms on Earth are divided into three main categories called domain. There's bacteria, which are microorganisms that have extremely simple structures. Archaea, which are similar to bacteria but are rare and only found in dangerous environments. And eukarya, which are the ones that are complex in structure. Eukarya include small living things from protist or microscopic animal, algae or microscopic plant, yeast, and other more visible organisms such as mold, fungi, seaweed, insects, plants, and animals. Bacteria and archaea domains are almost identical in every characteristic except, archaea are much more rare and are able to withstand extreme environments. So the scientists have decided to consider them both as one category called prokaryotes. So what are the differences between prokaryotes and eukaryotes? First of all, we need to know what exactly a cell is. Every organism on Earth, the ones that are considered as living are made out of the unit called cell. Cells are considered as the most basic and smallest form of life. A cell is like a membrane-bound liquid, and inside that liquid there are different components necessary to make this living unit meet all the requirements to be considered as being alive. One thing to keep in mind is that all prokaryotes survive as unicellular, which means they can survive by having one cell, whereas eukaryotes can have a single cell or sometimes multiple cells. For example, humans are made of trillions of cells connected to each other and have different functions to serve this single unit of life to stay alive. In simple terms, prokaryotes are the living things that are extremely small and have the most basic structure for life, whereas eukaryotes have a much more complex and higher number of different components and relationships in their structures. Prokaryotic cells have only a few main components. Nucleolus, which contains DNA, cytoplasm, which is the liquid medium in the cell's body, cell membranes surrounding its body, and ribosomes, which is the structure that produces proteins for different cellular functions. Eukaryotes have all of the above, but they are bigger in size and contain more and extra complex components. They include endoplasmic reticulum, which is for protein and lipid production, Golgi apparatus, which is for packaging and transport components in the cell, mitochondria that is present in animals, or chloroplast, which is only present in plants. Mitochondria and chloroplast are the components inside eukaryotic cells that act as energy production machines. This is because eukaryotes are much more complex, and if they are multicellular, they may have relationships with nearby cells through communications and transportations which require much more energy than prokaryotes. Because of this complexity, eukaryotes require extra assistance and more kinds of metabolisms to create much more energy. In addition, eukaryotes have the structural component called microtubule, which is a structure that supports the strength of the cell and also supports the movement of the cells. These microtubules do not exist in prokaryotic cells. However, in order to move, prokaryotes may have flagella that look like a bunch of tails that can rotate to navigate the movement of prokaryotes. Eukaryotes reproduce through budding, mitosis, and sexual reproduction for more complex life forms. Whereas prokaryotes reproduce by binary fission or self-replication. This means bacteria can divide themselves into two by itself, and they can perform it much faster than eukaryotes. Prokaryotes have plasmid, which is a small DNA that forms into a ring that floats inside the cytoplasm. Plasmids only exist in yeasts for eukaryotes. We can think of plasmid as an extra DNA used to create extra tools for breaking down foods more efficiently, or creating defenses such as antibiotic resistance, and for making their diseases more harmful. Now we can see that prokaryotes are so much different than eukaryotes. Now let's take a look at prokaryotes. As we talked earlier in this video, bacteria and archaea are two similar types of prokaryotes, but what are the differences? Before the 1970s, scientists did not know their differences, and they considered archaea to be the same as bacteria and even considered them as archaebacteria. Later on, research has identified that archaebacteria are only found in environments that are high in acidic concentration, high temperature, and high toxic chemicals such as methane. Their DNA is more closely related to eukaryotes than bacteria is to eukaryotes. Their cell membranes are also made of different chemicals compared to bacteria cell membranes. In addition, there have been no diseases known to be caused by archaea, whereas bacteria can cause many diseases in humans and animals. However, archaea are also known to be present in some animals' guts that can act as a mutual relationship with those animals, just like animals' guts bacteria. Because of these characteristics, archaea are considered as a different domain of life. With that being said, in biology, Every organism on Earth always goes through evolution. Life is known to start off with the most simple forms such as bacteria into more complex forms in the higher hierarchies such as humans and animals. Every organism has a relationship with one another in some way, each has different functions and unique roles in the ecosystem of the Earth. Every species goes through the cycle of reproduction, survival, stress, environmental changes, adaptation and improvement. It took us about 4 billion years to get to where we are now, and along the way, some species vanished, and some are still strong and have found ways to live alongside us here today. So we should appreciate the diversity of life, no matter if they are tiny or big. Thanks for watching.